Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another What's for Dinner video. I have a lot of great recipes and dinners to share with you today, as well as one dessert and one idea for breakfast. So let's get started. So today we're going to be making a super quick recipe for chicken Alfredo, also some fish cakes with rice and green beans, a really delicious strawberry pretzel salad for dessert, a Chinese chicken salad. This is a new recipe I tried that turned out so good. I'm going to be sharing how I made some freezer waffles for my kids to eat, a Saigon noodle bowl recipe. This was so delicious, as well as some Greek chicken kebabs with grilled veggies and hummus and pitas and some Greek rice. And then last but not least, we did steak with baked potatoes and caprese salad. Okay, so we're going to start out with some chicken Alfredo. You can see here that I'm using linguine. I actually don't even think this was on my meal plan on this particular week, but I had some cooked chicken in the fridge and this was a great way to use it up. This is my favorite Alfredo sauce, is the Knorr packets. They are so good. They're actually better than the bottled Alfredo sauce, and to me it tastes the closest to homemade. So on the side, I'm going to make some veggies that I got at the farmer's market. I'm just sauteing some broccoli and some asparagus that I had cut up. Once my water was boiling, I went ahead and popped in my linguine. This blue fork, I get tons of questions on it. It's actually from Sur La Table, but they do sell it on Amazon, so I'll link it down below. It's super useful for a lot of things, and I know some of you have messaged me saying that you got one and you really like it. So I had meal prepped some chicken breast the week before and we hadn't used it up. I just think that prepping chicken breast is one of the easiest things that you can do to make your life easier during the week, especially when you're done with work and you don't want to cook. There's just so many things you can do with it. So I pulled it out of the fridge and I'm just cutting it into thin strips. Since I'm going to be combining this with pasta and some other food, I only used 2 chicken breasts for the 4 of us and it worked out just fine. So there's my cooked veggies and pasta. I also baked some breadsticks that I just got out of the freezer, and that was our dinner for this evening. No complaints from the kids. Everyone loved it. Just pasta with chicken and Alfredo sauce, some veggies on the side, and some garlic breadsticks. So next up is this totally confusing dish, which is called a strawberry pretzel salad, but is really a dessert. I don't know if that's a thing in the Midwest, like we call things salads that are actually desserts, but I've been wanting to make this for a while, and this is a recipe from Taste of Home, which I'll link down below. It calls for crushed pretzels, and so I'm just putting some pretzels into my food processor and pulsing them until they become fine crumbs. After that, I'm going to add some sugar and some melted butter, and this will be the crust for your strawberry pretzel dessert. I'm going to go ahead and call it a dessert because I feel like it's a dessert. I don't think it qualifies as a salad, but at any rate, you can use a rolling pin or a meat mallet along with a Ziploc bag to crush your pretzels, but I always find that the food processor just does a better and more even job, so that's what I like to use. If you're going to make this, just note that I did cut the recipe in half just because I didn't want to be stuck with a 9x13 pan of this in the fridge because I didn't know how everyone was going to like it. P.S. Everyone loved it and wants me to make it again, so I will be doing that at some point. But for the crust mixture, I just pressed that into an 8x8 dish. I did grease that with a little bit of cooking spray and then pop that into the oven to bake while I made the filling. So for the filling, it's almost like a cheesecake type filling, I guess sort of like a no-bake cheesecake since it doesn't have eggs in it. And I did try to cut down on the calories in this just a little bit by using sugar-free Jell-O and some monk fruit sweetener instead of regular sugar. You can see also the recipe calls for whipped cream or Cool Whip, but I didn't have any on hand, and I happened to have the spray whipped cream in the bottle, and I was like, what the heck, I'm going to use it and see if it works. And it did work. So I was afraid that it wouldn't, but it did end up working fine. So here is the crust after it comes out of the oven. You want to make sure that you let that cool almost completely before you put the cream cheese layer on. But once that cools, it is fine to go ahead and layer up. If you like sweet and salty stuff, you would definitely like this recipe. Adam really liked it, which I was kind of surprised at. He's not always a huge fan of sweet and salty, but he really liked it, and so did the kids. They just kept commenting how they couldn't believe that it was made with pretzels. I think just because they're so used to pretzels being like a savory snack. I put the cream cheese layer on, and then I pop that into the fridge for that to firm up. You want to make sure that you let that layer set before you put the Jell-O layer on. So I have some sugar-free Jell-O. This is just strawberry. I'm just using the 4-serving box of that, and I went ahead and mixed that with some boiling water from my kettle. I will link that kettle down below. I love it. We actually just got an electric kettle like within the last year or so, and I think that it's super handy, especially when you need boiling water for a recipe. You can see that I mixed some crushed strawberries in with the Jell-O. I poured that over the top, put it in the fridge to set, and here's what it looks like. It is really good. I would definitely recommend this. Like I said, it would be a great dish to bring to a potluck, and we did serve it with a little bit of extra whipped cream on the top. Okay, the next meal that I'm sharing is some fish cakes with rice and green beans. So I'm starting out with some tilapia fillets that I have on a baking sheet. We're going to bake these in the oven, flake them up, and then form them into the fish patties. So I just have these seasoned with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper, and then I'm just going to pop them into the oven. I cook them at, I believe, 400 degrees for around 12 to 14 minutes, just until they're cooked through. And here's what they looked like after they were done. So this original recipe actually came from a Home Chef box that I got years ago. I mean, like probably 5 or 6 years ago is how long I've been using their service, even before I did food content on YouTube. But at any rate, there are some recipes from meal kits that I keep around and use, regular ingredients from the grocery store to recreate them. And this is one of those. So I let the fish cool a little bit, and then I'm just putting it into a bowl, using that big rubber fork again to just kind of flake this up. And if you've ever had salmon patties before or tuna patties, this is kind of what this recipe is similar to, but it's a great way to use up tilapia, or you could even substitute salmon if you have that on hand. On the side, I'm just going to make a box of this herb and butter rice-a-roni. This is definitely a crowd pleaser in my house. My kids love having rice on the side for dinner, and this one is really great because it's super quick and it tastes good. So I'm just toasting up the rice in a little bit of butter before I add the water and the seasoning packet, and then I'll just let that simmer while the rest of my dinner is cooking. Sometimes when I post dinner videos, I get questions on whether my kids eat the things that I cook and if we all eat together. And yes, I would say 95% of the time we all eat together. They're not really that picky at all. There are certain things that they don't prefer, but usually I'll try to, at least if they don't really prefer the main dish, I'll make a side dish that they like, but it's really not an option for them to get like a different meal, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And they're used to me cooking different things and being exposed to lots of different types of meat and fish and vegetables and fruits. And so I think that I've just been able to expose them to a lot of different types of foods and different cuisines, and it's really made them not so picky. So I guess that would be my only tip if you have picky eaters, is just to keep trying things with them, because eventually they will try it and they might even end up liking it. But my kids really do like fish, and they loved these fish cakes. So what I'm doing is I flaked up the fish and I added some crushed up saltine crackers to it. I added some mayo. I went ahead and used a microplane to mince my shallot. I also added some lemon juice and some Old Bay seasoning. I seasoned it with salt and pepper, and then you're just going to form these into little patties and then just fry them up in a skillet with a little bit of olive oil. So here's what they looked like when they were done. Connor could not say enough good things about these. I think he ate 3 of them with his dinner. Again, I served these with a little bit of extra lemon and some green beans and some rice, and you could also serve some tartar sauce on the side if you like that as well. I will definitely try to find a recipe similar to this and link it down below so that you guys can recreate it if you'd like to. Okay, so this next recipe that I'm sharing is for a Chinese chicken salad, and I don't have a recipe to link for this. It was kind of just based off of what I had in my refrigerator, and I saw a method online of frying up tortilla strips for an Asian salad in place of wonton strips, and I thought I would try it, mostly just because I had a lot of things already on hand. So I'm getting started by marinating some chicken breast, and I love using this Asian style spicy peanut vinaigrette dressing. This is from Trader Joe's, and not only is it a really good dressing for salad, but it also makes a great marinade for chicken breasts. So I went ahead and poured that into a Ziploc bag with my 4 chicken breasts, and I just let that sit in the refrigerator all day until it was time for dinner. When it was time to eat, I pulled that out, and I'm just putting it on a sheet tray with some foil. And I'll bake these chicken breasts in the oven at, it's supposed to be at 450, but it's at 445 for 18 to 20 minutes. And then while that's baking, I chopped up my lettuce for the salad. So I am using romaine. That's just what I had in my refrigerator. So I'm chopping this up and I'm going to put it into the bowl of my salad spinner. I always wash produce, not just greens, but any type of produce in my OXO salad spinner. And then I like to squeeze a little bit of fresh lemon juice in there with my greens as well. I just think that it helps the lettuce not to turn brown in the fridge if you store it. And so I soak it in the lemon water for probably about 10 minutes and then spin it dry, and it's ready for my salad. Any kitchen tools that I use in this video, I always try and link all of those in the description box below. So if you have a question on where I got something from, check there first. And if I didn't link it, just leave a comment and I'll try to reply to you and let you know where I got it. Next, I cut up some sugar snap peas and got those washed up. And then to go on the side, I'm also just going to cook up some egg rolls and some cream cheese wontons. I'm cooking those in my air fryer to make sure that they're nice and crispy. I have a Kasori air fryer and I love it. It's my favorite. Here are the tortilla strips. So I thought this was an interesting concept. These are just flour tortillas that I cut up super fine. And then I put a little bit of vegetable oil in the bottom of a small pot and just fried those up until they were golden brown. I also wanted to include some almonds on this salad, and so I fried those up as well after the tortilla strips were done. And Adam could not stop talking about how delicious these were on the salad. He's like, "Can you please make some of these again so we can have them on salads?" I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it's not the healthiest thing, but you honestly don't need that many of them to give a nice, crunch on the top of your salad. So next I'm going to make the dressing. This is just like a sesame dressing recipe that I found. So it has soy sauce in it, garlic, olive oil. I also put a little bit of sugar in there, some rice wine vinegar, and whisked that all together. I'll try to find the one that I used as an inspiration and post it in the description box. I also had fresh ginger on hand, and I don't believe the recipe called for that, but how can you go wrong with some freshly grated ginger in your dressing? So I went ahead and whisked that up, and next I'm just going to finish chopping up all of the toppings for my salad. So I had a little bit of cilantro. I just went ahead and put that on my portion. And then I also cut up some cucumbers and some red pepper. This is really a good time to use up veggies that you have in your fridge. We had actually had Adam's parents over for Father's Day like a couple days before this. And so I had leftover veggies and dip sitting in the fridge. And that's always a great way to use those up, is on a salad. Here's the chicken breast that I cooked in the oven. So I'm just slicing that up to put on top of my salad. I also put a few mandarin oranges. I always love those in an Asian salad. And then I'm just going to spoon some of that sesame dressing over the top, and that is it. Well, that is not it, because I have to add the tortilla strips and the almonds, but yeah, this was really good. I really liked it. I love doing like main dish salads for dinner, especially like this when there's just so many like good flavors and textures. It's a great way to have something at least semi-healthy for dinner that the whole family will love. And then here is what we had on the side. I made just some egg rolls that I got out of the freezer. These are pork egg rolls and some cream cheese wontons with some sweet chili sauce. Really delicious dinner. I would recommend this. Okay, and on this night, I'm not cooking. We had pizza. Do you guys know what Happy Joe's is? I think it's like mostly a Midwest pizza chain, but they have the best taco pizza. They also have lots of cool pizzas like cheeseburger pizza, which you can see here. Adam and I got half cheeseburger, half matador, and we also got some cheese sticks. I always order a ton of pizza because I love leftover pizza. Do you guys like leftover pizza? Because I do. I just included that clip in there to show you that I don't cook every single night. Okay, so this isn't really a fancy recipe either, but I'm just sharing how I am sort of doing a double duty breakfast. So on this morning, Connor wanted waffles, and I did not have any Eggo waffles in the freezer. I normally keep them, but I thought, you know what, I'm not going to buy any this week because I have some pancake mix in the pantry that I can use up. And so obviously on the box there is a recipe for waffles, and so I just went ahead and made that. The only modification I usually use when I make pancakes and waffles is I like to add a splash of vanilla extract to them. I think it makes the pancakes and the waffles taste a lot better. So if you don't normally do that, try that the next time and see if you like it. I'm just whisking all the ingredients together in my lovely avocado green Pyrex bowl. Raise your hand if you have one of these, or if one was handed down to you by your grandma and you cherish it just like I do mine. And then next I'm adding in the dry mix. So I went ahead and doubled this just because, like I said, I wanted to put some of these in the freezer. If you can, when you're making waffles or pancakes, let your completed batter sit for about 5 minutes before you put it on the griddle or the waffle maker. That will make your waffles or your pancakes just a little bit fluffier. So I'm using my newer, I guess it's not new, I've had it for a couple months now, waffle maker. I love this waffle maker. Do you know why? Because you can snap the plates out and put them in the dishwasher, which is very handy when you overfill your waffle maker like I did here. I found after trial and error that the perfect amount of waffle batter to put in there was 1/4 cup and not a smidge more. But at any rate, if you're looking for a waffle maker that's super easy to clean, I would definitely recommend this one. Prior to this, I had like a Black & Decker one that Adam and I got for our wedding, like a wedding present, and we got married in 2006, so it's what, like 13, 14 years old. This one is so much better because, like I said, it has a button on it and you just pop it and you take the plates out and you put them in the dishwasher, and it's so easy. So I'll link this one down below. It's not super expensive, but this is what Connor had for breakfast that day. We had this new Jif cocoa peanut butter, which is sort of like Nutella, but it's actually like a peanut butter. It's really good if you've never tried it. And I gave him some fruit salad on the side. And then here was my huge stack of waffles that I put in the freezer for later use. Okay, next up is a recipe that I'm going to share that actually came from a Sunbasket box. This is Saigon Noodle Bowls. It was totally delicious. This video is not sponsored by Sunbasket, but here's what came in the box. Scallions, grated carrots, chicken breast, cucumber, radishes, mint, some kind of like peanut dressing, and some rice noodles. You guys, I feel like I have a problem when it comes to meal kits because even though I love cooking, I actually love trying out meal kits too. And I've tried Sunbasket before a couple times actually, and I did a review on them along with a couple of other meal kit services, which I can link that video down below if you're interested. Sunbasket was not the winner, but I do actually like trying their recipes. If you're more into like organic foods and whole foods, they are a good option. I will say that. What I'm doing here is just mincing up some green onions, and I'm pouring some hot oil on top of those. This is going to be a garnish for these noodle bowls, which turned out so good. I got 2 portions of this, and I actually made this for Adam and I for lunch one day, and we both really liked it. So I have my chicken breast that I seasoned with salt and pepper and some ground ginger, and I'm just going to saute that until it is cooked in some olive oil. And then I'm also getting my water boiled for the rice noodles. Next, I'm going to make the cucumber radish salad that goes on top of these. This was totally unique, and it's actually the reason why I decided to order this particular Sunbasket box on this week, because I saw this dish on their app and I was like, oh, I feel like I have to have this. And I don't regret it. It was really good. So what I'm doing is I'm just thinly slicing up this cucumber that they sent. I did go ahead and peel it since it was a traditional cucumber and not an English cucumber. I prefer those peeled. They also sent some radishes, so I'm thinly slicing those and putting them in the bowl with the cucumber. Like I said, I did buy this box on my own, so this video is not sponsored, but I do have a coupon code if you guys want to try it out. I believe it's $40 off your first box, which is a pretty great deal. So I'll leave that link down below if you want to try it out. Like I was saying before, I feel like I love to cook so much that sometimes I just get meal kits. It's almost like it's a craft kit. Like when I scrapbooked a lot and I would get like kits in the mail, that's how I feel like meal kits are for me now. I don't know why. I just have fun. I don't know. I have fun trying new recipes and getting, different inspiration and just trying out the different brands and seeing how I like them. So I also put in this bowl the shredded carrot, the chopped up mint, which was an awesome addition, and then a little bit of that dressing, seasoned it with salt and pepper, tossed it around, and this is what's going to go on top of our noodle bowls. So I went ahead and cooked the rice noodles, and then I tossed them with a little bit of that scallion oil that I made. This, like I said, I got the 2-portion recipe for this, and it made plenty for Adam and I. I have these shallow bowls that I got at IKEA, I think is where I got them many years ago, and it's perfect for a noodle dish like this. So I'm just going to put half of the noodles in one bowl and half of the noodles in the other. And then I'll pile the chicken on top along with some of the extra dressing, and then the cold salad goes on top of the warm noodle dish, which I think is really awesome. Adam was like standing over my shoulder as I was making this, and he's like, please don't put my salad in with the noodles. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I want it separate. I'm like, okay. He's not a huge fan of like hot with cold salad. I don't know. It's just a thing with him, but I personally really liked it. So putting the chicken on top, and then next I'm just going to grab that peanut dressing that they sent, which was really good. I wish I could replicate that, but I'm not even sure what's in it. I'm just drizzling that over the chicken and the rice noodles, and then I'm going to put the salad on top of mine, but then I'll put his on the side. So here's another funny thing is when I eat something like this, I always use chopsticks. Just because I feel like it's more authentic. I don't know, like anytime I eat like an Asian noodle dish or sushi, I always use chopsticks, and Adam makes fun of me all the time. He's like, oh, you're so sophisticated with your chopsticks. I'm like, I don't know. I just like using them. So tell me in the comments below, do you guys know how to use chopsticks or not? Surprisingly, I'm really pretty good with chopsticks, and I don't know how. I think it's just practice, but I would love to know whether you know how to use them or not. Here is the finished dish. This was so good. I really want to make this again. I loved it. All right, so next up is a dinner of some Greek inspired chicken kebabs. And with that, I'm making some rice in my Instant Pot. I am using this Greek seasoning that I get from Fresh Jack's. It is so good. I always have a link in my description box for their spices along with the coupon code. I like them because most of them don't have a lot of salt in them, so that means that you can kind of control the salt flavor yourself. But I just have my rice and my water and my butter in the Instant Pot along with some of that Greek seasoning, and I also squeezed a little bit of lemon juice in there as well. You can just Google any recipe for Instant Pot rice and it will tell you, the ratios to use, and for this I just used the rice button on the Instant Pot. So I'm going to grill these chicken kebabs along with the veggies, and to heat up my pitas, I just figured it would be just as easy to wrap those in foil and throw them on the grill along with everything else, which worked out super well. I also wanted to make like a cucumber and tomato feta salad on the side of this. So I just looked in my refrigerator and kind of took stock of what veggies I had and decided to mix all of those together along with some feta cheese that I had as well. So I have a small English cucumber here that I just halved and cut into chunks and put that into the bowl. Next, I chopped up a little bit of red bell pepper that I had left over, and then I'm also going to add some cherry tomatoes. So you could really customize this to whatever you have in your refrigerators. It's a great way to use up kind of some stray ends of produce that you might have. And then this is the feta cheese I'm using. I actually prefer to buy the block of feta cheese and cube it up myself. I just think that it has so much better flavor than the pre-crumbled feta, but that's totally up to you. I also had a few green onions left over. I chopped those up, and then I had this random packet of Greek dressing. I thought it was going to be like a vinaigrette, but it was actually more of like a creamy Greek dressing. Either way, it was good. I squeezed that in there, mixed it up, and that was our salad for the side. These are some veggie kebabs that I prepared earlier in the week. So they had red onion and zucchini and peppers. And then the chicken I just marinated with olive oil and garlic and parsley and lemon juice. I actually showed that in a meal prep video last week, which I can link down below as well. And here were the veggies and the chicken kebabs when they came out or came off the grill. They turned out so good. I love cooking chicken like this, and especially when you marinate it in lemon juice and parsley and olive oil, it's really delicious. So we also had some feta. I also made that in that meal prep video. Not feta. Yes, we did have feta, but we had some homemade hummus along with the cucumber and tomato salad. And then I also had some fruit salad on the side for the kids. They don't really like feta cheese, and so they did not eat the salad. So I always try to have a fruit option for them. And then this is the rice. It came out super fluffy and flavorful. I would definitely recommend adding that lemon juice and that Greek seasoning to the rice. It turned out really good and everyone loved it. So here is what, I can't remember if this is my plate or Adam's plate, but we had the rice and the hummus and the chicken and the veggies and the feta salad. It was so good. If you guys have never tried the chicken and rice mixed with the hummus, definitely try it. It's delicious. All right, so the last dinner idea I'm sharing with you is just some steak with baked potatoes and caprese salad. For the steaks, I'm using some fillets and I'm just seasoning those with some of the garlic herb seasoning from Fresh Jack's. I really like this because, again, it doesn't have salt, and I like to control the amount of salt. Not in the sense that we eat low sodium food, but in the sense that I would rather use my own kosher salt to salt my food, just because I'm so used to using it and I can kind of sense how much I have and season the food properly. I don't even know if that really makes sense, but hopefully it does. Here is some shrimp that I pulled out of the freezer and defrosted, and I had some of the cilantro vinaigrette left over from that Sunbasket box that I showed you earlier, and it was really good to marinate the shrimp in. So that's what I did, and I threw that on a baking tray, and I just roasted that in the oven along with my baked potatoes. Next, I'm making some caprese salad. I'm sure you guys have seen me make this a million times before, but I love it in the summer, especially when I have a fresh basil plant on my back deck that I can always get basil from. I think think Caprese is great because not only does it make a great side for dinner, it also keeps fairly well in the fridge, and you can eat it throughout the week for lunch, which is normally what I do. So I seasoned my cherry tomatoes with some salt, and I like to use the pearl mozzarella when I make the salad with cherry tomatoes. So I'm just kind of breaking that into the little balls that it comes in and mixing that with the tomatoes. Sometimes I put balsamic vinegar in my caprese salad, but this time I didn't. And I would definitely say if you're going to make it ahead of time, definitely don't put the balsamic vinegar in it because it will break down the cheese and the tomatoes and you'll just end up with a big mess. So if you're going to use that, just sprinkle it sort of over your food when you're about ready to eat. So I have some fresh basil here that I pulled off of the deck, and I'm just chopping that up. I have a new knife. It's from Misen, and I'm going to be doing a more detailed video on this in the coming weeks. So make sure you watch out for that if you are interested. I love this knife. It is a dream to cut with. And I know you guys are always asking me about what the best knives are and affordable knives. And so definitely stay tuned for that. So I have my cast iron skillet here heated up with some oil, and I'm just putting my fillets in there. I'm sorry, this clip is so blown out. I needed to turn the exposure down a little bit, but I obviously didn't do that. So what I'm going to do with these fillets is just sear them on both sides, and then I finish them off in the oven. So you can, Google a lot of different recipes on how to do that, but I think that's the best method when you're doing it inside. There are my baked potatoes that I cooked up. Here are the fillets after I turn them over. You just want to get a good crust on the outside of them, and then you can pop them in the oven to finish cooking the rest of the way. Here are the shrimp after they cooked. I know they don't look that impressive, but they were really good with that cilantro vinaigrette on them. And then here are the finished products. So I'm just letting those rest in the skillet with a little bit of foil over the top to just let them finish cooking through. And yes, my kids eat steak too. They like it. Here's the caprese salad. And then I have some toppings for the potatoes. I steamed up some broccoli. We had some butter, salt and pepper, a little bit of shredded cheese, and some sour cream. Baked potatoes are another crowd pleaser in my house. So this was that dinner, and it was very delicious. Can't go wrong with a steak, baked potato with broccoli and cheese, and some caprese salad. It's like almost the perfect summer meal, right? Steak and baked potatoes. You can never go wrong with a steak and a baked potato for dinner, right? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it and you got some ideas for your own dinners this week. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and click the red button down below. Also click the bell to get notifications, and make sure that you follow me on Instagram. It's just Jen Chapin, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Can I start?
I don't care. I'm on my phone.
Okay, I'm just giving you
You do your life.
live your life. Hey guys, it's Jen. Can you be quiet just for like 2 seconds? Are you talking to me?
Talking to Connor.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Lady, I don't know. Wait till you go to sleep tonight.
And then what?